Hi everyone, welcome to another week of the Earth Nouveau Hub, our little family here. We might wait for a few more people to come in, Martina, because we're quite prompt today, I think, aren't we? And we wouldn't like them to miss the start of the meditative sound journey. So we'll just give it a couple more minutes.
Resume, yes.
Hi everyone, welcome consciousness explorers to another Earth Nouveau Hub session. Welcome our lovely family here. Again, I'm very excited this week because I've got a friend who's albeit just a Facebook friend, and we've only met once or twice. We were both on holiday in Cornwall and we bumped into each other twice at different places, so we felt we were meant to connect. And that was a good few years ago. And through Facebook, I found out that Gail is a Sound Journey Facilitator. So I'm really pleased today to welcome Gail Stewart to us, to this Earth Nouveau Hub. And I believe she's going to give us a little introduction, and then we're going to have about a half-hour sound journey. So welcome, Gail, from Earth Nouveau.
Thank you very much. It's so lovely to see you all. I'm from Wales in the UK, and I know that some of you are from this country, and I know that some of you are from America. Is that right? Yeah. So I'm really pleased to be here. It is wonderful technology to be able to see each other and connect, isn't it? And also for me to continue to do to be with my passion, which is using my instruments, the gongs and crystal bowls and solfeggio pipes and lots of other things. So if you've had a sound bath or sound journey before, can you put your hands up just so I know if any of you have experienced that before? Okay, so for most of you, it's a new experience. And if you think about your body, it's 70%, 75% water. And if I had a singing bowl with water and I went around with it, it would bubble up and vibrate. While your body vibrates all the time, because every cell in your body is vibrating. But when you add and listen to sound or music, that also works with your cells and with the water in your body, and sometimes changes the vibrations of your body. So, for example, what a doctor who was an oncologist and also worked with crystal bowls and singing bowls said that when we're ill, it's about disharmony in the body, that the cells in certain parts of the body are not vibrating in harmony with the surrounding parts of the body. So if, like, for example, we're tense and we get a stiff neck, something is not vibrating in harmony. Quite often, a lot of what we feel and a lot of disease comes from emotional and emotional problems of negativity and fear and all kinds of other things, and stress, which can cause problems in our stomach with ulcers and back pain and neck pain. So just looking at that, for example, that we're stressed and we're tired, we're anxious, we're fearful, sound can really help relax. It helps relax. So it can come in through the ears and then affects the vagus nerve, and then that affects all of the body. But sound, any sound can do all kinds of things to you. It can be sound that's not very noise and sound. But when I play an instrument, say I play the gong, which is very powerful, that can affect, as with all the instruments I'm going to play today, that can slow down the brain waves. And if you were in the presence of a gong, physically present with the gong, you could be asleep, within 90 seconds. It slows the brain waves right down. So a lot of the instruments that I will play today will slow down the brain waves. And when the brain waves slow down, we relax and this busy mind stops. And the chemicals that are produced when we relax come in abundance. And when we relax, you know, when you do yoga or qigong, that's when healing can take place, is when we are relaxed. When we're tense, healing won't take place at all. When we're meditating, if we're not breathing properly and not entering into a state of relaxation, it won't help. The wonderful thing about the instruments is that they will affect the brain and they will slow you down and you will relax whether you want to or not. The gong will definitely do that. So when we relax, we will heal. What else do I want to say? You can come into a sound journey and feel stressed, and then coming out, you could feel wonderful. And that's what I love about it. It affects all the cells of the body. There's loads I could say, but it's hard to fit it all in 10 minutes. I have many workshops with about 30 people coming. I also do sound journeys for people recovering from cancer and at the Maggie Centre, and also for the doctors and the nurses that are working there on a separate occasion. And I also do one-to-ones for people that are stressed or recovering from cancer, or people that just want to come and have a relaxed session. And people come up to me and they write and they tell me about the benefits that they receive, which is lovely. And I was very surprised to hear that even doing this online made a difference to them and helped them sleep. I do one at 9 o'clock at night on Tuesdays, and so they can be in their pajamas and go straight to bed. So I'm just introducing you to different sounds today. I'm going to take you on a journey of sound. So all you need to do, if you would, I'm inviting you to lie down if you can, which would be great. Whether you can plug in your earphones and lie down with your laptop or iPads or computer, that would really help. So you get the right sound. And let's just go on a journey together. I will be on a journey with you. I've no idea where to take me. So are there any questions before we go? I'm just going to go into the other room, and my husband's going to sort the microphone out. So if you want to just make yourselves comfortable and put your earphones in, and they're all muted. And I'll see you in about 5 minutes, or 2 minutes. You won't see me, I'm in another room. Okay, I'll see you later. Begin the song exactly where you are. Remain within the world of which you're made. Call nothing common in the earth or air. Accept it all and let it be for good. Start with the very breath you breathe in now, this moment's pulse, this rhythm in your blood, and listen to it, ringing soft and low. Stay with the music, words will come in time. Slow down your breathing, keep it deep and slow. Become an open singing bowl, whose chime is richness rising out of emptiness and timelessness resounding into time. And when the heart is full of quietness, begin the song exactly where you are. In the beginning, only this, a sound whose waves expand, whose echoes still expend themselves in rifts of time and space, in overlapping amplitudes of bliss, puttering into patterns, into persons, into us, conscious harmonics, singing face to face, resounding into music now, we trace in touches of a single string our source, flowing in everything, for everything in the beginning, in the end, is only this, a sound.
Hi, Gail.
Hi, Gail. We'll wait for everyone to come back.
I think everybody's asleep.
Mm. I think most people are coming back now, Gail. I have to say thank you. I was totally blown away by that. Totally blown away. And when you added your voice to that, it just went to another level. It really did for me. I absolutely love that. And I think how well you come across, you know, we've got Zoom, the internet to deal with the sound. So one day I'm going to make it my business to come to Wales and have a live one with you. But that, considering you had to deal with the, you know, Zoom, it was absolutely wonderful. I've got a few questions, but what I'd actually like to do is get everyone back in the room. because I'm sure others will have something they'd like to say. Thank you, Gail. Has anyone got any questions, anything they'd like to say from that?
Hi guys.
Hi, Caroline.
Hi. First of all, that was amazing. Even though indeed there was, like, with Zoom, the sound doesn't come across like you can imagine, but it was still very, how'd you say? You really did make us feel like a bowl, like a singing bowl, like this vibration, like this floating sensation, very calming. I really enjoyed that. One question that's really practical, do you have any recorded material that you sell? I can't hear you.
No, we can't hear you. We can't hear you, no.
No sound, Gail.
Is your microphone still in the other room? You can always talk to us from the other room if you want to, Gail, but if we could see you as well, it'd be great.
Okay, is that better?
Ah,
Yes.
okay, thanks, Jane.
Sorry about that.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Hello, Caroline. Thank you very much with your kind words. It isn't easy. It's quite a challenge doing it online, and it is amazing, as you say, Laura, how you can get sound across, but also importantly, to be able to send out the feelings of love through the instruments, which is the most important, because anyone can play an instrument and just strike at the gong or the crystal bowl, but if it comes with an intention and from your heart, then I feel that's what travels, what travels across the ether is what comes through the instruments then, especially with the crystal bowls, actually, because I think they carry a lot of energies of they magnify the feelings to and fro each other. I don't have any CDs. Somebody's asked me, and I will be doing one. It's just I need to wait for lockdown to go into a studio, which my neighbour has just up the road, when we're all safe, and I will be doing that. I won't be charging very much. If anything, it'll be donations for a cancer charity. It's just, that's the way I am. So I'll let you know, Caroline, but thank you.
Actually, I have a few more questions, if that's okay.
Oh.
So I missed the beginning of the show for some reason. My internet wouldn't work, and I wanted to know how you, like, I've read that you were a singer first, but how did you come to that activity? Like, how do you, it sounds to me like a million different instruments in there, and that room sounds like a playroom to those ears.
There are many instruments and many different things that are difficult to play online, and a lot of natural things like leaves. I have bamboo leaves, which I love to play, and ayahuasca leaves. I love to waft those around, and because they make amazing sounds, and really, like, they run along the aura of the person and cleansing and healing. But there are many instruments that are difficult to play online because they don't come across well. But I do have many instruments, and I started this, I was nursing for many years. I've always sung, and I teach therapeutic dance, so I appreciate the effects of sound and music on the body and how it wants you to move, which is also very healing. And then I had breast cancer about 7 years ago, and I decided to give up nursing and be with people in a different way of healing. And I found that finishing my training, which was a 4-year training, I was in my 4th year, really helped me in my healing. And then I went to a friend's sound bath, and it blew me away. And I realized that this is where I need to be with people now. So I went to work, I went back to work, gave him my notice the next day, and I've been collecting probably about £10,000 worth of instruments since then, and now I have to stop. So I try to find instruments, and by that I mean things like pieces of wood or stones, lovely sounds to rub, and that can be used that you don't have to spend a lot of money for, that really help relax. There's a lot of lovely sounds out there. You know, even if you get some lentils and pour them in a jar, that sound of them falling on each other, and water sounds. And sometimes I put water in the Tibetan bowl and whiz that around, and I tip it, and it makes really interesting sounds.
Makes me think of all those people who do movie sound. They make the sounds for the movie, so you can see them in the room, and the horse with the stand and some like can boxes, and getting very, very creative, imagining how with little day-to-day objects they just create Foley artist things.
I think it's like when you're a child and a toddler.
Yeah.
You know, we were so, and if you look at toddlers, they're fascinated with different sounds. It's just simple as that. And for babies, you know, I don't know whether they still do, but rattles for babies.
Yeah.
Very relaxing. And that's why they had them, because they'd rattle themselves to sleep. Rattles are used, as you know, for shamans to help relax and the drumming, and the rattle takes you across the bridge into another world within. So rattles are very relaxing. So yes, you're right.
Yeah. And is that something you do completely intuitively, or did you get through some kind of training? Or
I did have training to know how to use the gong and to know how to use a crystal bowl, because they're crystal and they can break into millions of pieces. So I did have training, but to know how to strike the gong in different ways and different things to do with it, but it takes a long time to connect with the gong, you and the gong. So then you have to do that and spend a lot of time with your gong, so you know your gong. And I have 4 gongs, and it just takes time. And if we were in a room together, I would be playing them louder and more of them, and 2 or 3 together, and bringing you up and taking you down. But I have to control myself here because of technology. But that is my joy, to take people really up and right down, and working with, from the base and sexual chakra and right up through the body. But that's hard to do online.
So you do that based on the notes for the different chakras, or is just something you're concentrating mentally on the chakra, and you're like, I'm sending energy to that chakra through those sounds that I'm about to make?
Yeah, I don't concentrate so much on the notes. I don't think that matters. Sometimes I work with I will work with the different tones of the gongs, but with the crystal bowls. But with the gong, I'll start down in its base of the bowl of the gong, and then I will work up.
So you're raising the sound,
raising the energy, and then take it up, even with my hands, to raise it up in the air. But that's hard to do online.
Yeah.
And sometimes it can be quite orgasmic as well. So that probably wouldn't be safe to do that online. I'd get into trouble.
Especially with crystal.
Yeah. Oh.
That was very cool. I don't want to monopolize.
Don't worry, Caroline. If you've got more questions, carry on.
Oh, we could talk for hours. I don't know. I love sound too. Do you teach in that case? Is that like, it's bubbly in here? Do you teach what you do, or?
I do help people. I teach Biodance, so that's I teach dance, therapeutic dance, but I do help people when they have a gong. They can bring the gong, or I'll go to their place and I'll help show them how to use it, how to use the gong. I can, and to use the bowls. I can show them how to use any instrument. I do that. And then the rest is up to them.
There's a whole energetic process behind it. I mean, it's not just you playing with instruments. There's a whole intention. And how do you prepare for a session with a client? Or
well, I usually, the night before, I will be thinking a lot about it, thinking a lot, and I always have a short meditation. Today I had a short meditation, then just before that I joined you. And always that is about, it's my intention, and that I hope that, for example, that these energies will reach those that are open to receiving, and people will receive different things in different ways. If I had a room of 30 people, a lot of them would come up and they say, the crystal balls really took me, and and they will say that, or another one would say, well, it was the gong that did it for me, and actually I saw my mother, or something, or they went floating, or they saw colors, or they felt vibrations in their body, so it affects. Or for some people are resistant, and they will be resistant, and that's fine as well. I mean, it's a bit like if someone went for counseling and they're resistant, they're not ready. Everything happens in its right time and right place, and sometimes the gong may not be right for somebody, or the crystal bowl, and it may be something else. So that's why I always say, for those that are open to receiving, that they will receive. And sometimes people will receive some enlightenment in a day or two later. It may not be they'll feel relaxed, always relaxed, but they may see something or realize something a couple of days later. Sometimes people cry, sometimes emotion is let out, because we hold a lot of emotion in our body, a lot of feelings, and that we often keep them in, and it's sometimes too frightening to even bring out and let out. And sometimes these instruments will allow them to escape out, and we can become tearful. But that's all part of the healing process. But it's really nice to be with somebody when that's happening, and it can happen. It's not a bad thing, but one needs to be careful with that person and maybe see them for a one-to-one. But I've cried at a friend's sound bath, because we all hold things inside that sometimes a certain instrument will connect.
Yeah, but crying can be very it's a great release. So that's the point of the sound healing. So after that, I guess there's judgment regarding what you feel about yourself crying, but
yeah. I'm doing some sound for some homeless people very soon, and I have to be very careful which instruments I play, that I don't take them down too deep. I have to be very careful, mindful of how I use the instruments.
Is that something you do often?
I haven't done it for homeless people yet. I've just been asked, so I have to think very hard about the program, and I can't plan the sounds of the instruments.
You're playing for them, or
For them, I play for them. But then I want them to touch the instruments and play them themselves. That's my aim. And then I want them all in a circle joining me.
That would be sound therapy, as in art therapy, to let people express themselves through their sounds.
That would be great. I don't always call it therapy, but I would want to invite them so they're not afraid of the instruments, and they can start to identify which ones work for them in this moment, and then we will all be around and we will create something together. That's my aim.
A jam.
But not with the crystal bowls. I won't give them
No. Metal only.
Thank you, Caroline.
Thank you. I think I'm speaking for everyone, saying thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, I'm done.
So thank you very much. And I think I'll leave you now to do what you normally do.
Gail?
Yes, hello, Sean.
Hi. Do you have any kind of online presence anywhere on any platform?
I do. My singing, I'm a singer. I have 5 YouTube songs. Gail Stewart.
I looked on YouTube, but
Yeah, I'm there. Gail Stewart. If you look at Gail Stewart sings, there's a video of me singing a folk song, and then there's 4 classical songs. Gail Stewart sings my songs my mother taught me. Try that.
there you are. Cool.
And on Facebook, you may just see what Laura advertised and my sound workshops on Tuesday and beer dancer. You'll see that on Facebook. Enjoy the songs.
There's the link to Gail's page.
Thank you.
You're welcome. One artist to another. Promote yourself.
What do you do?
A lot, but I'm not. Yeah, including sound healing and music and all that. But I could tell how good you are, even though the sounds weren't really coming through. So that's why I was asking for your YouTube page, so I could hear you more clearly. So thanks. Thank you for everything you did today. But yeah, and all your work and play.
Thank you, Sean. And if you're on the media somewhere, maybe I could listen to you.
I've been keeping it quiet, but I just started releasing stuff. Let me see if I can give me 10 seconds and I will find a link. Here it is, and oh, slow loading, sorry.
You can always send it to me. Laura knows.
Yeah, you can come through me or friend Gail on Facebook.
Here we go. Here is the so far I just uploaded one song from about 25 years ago. And here. There's the link.
Thank you. Great.
You're welcome. No, thank you. That was beautiful.
Thank you very much.
Before Gail disappears, has anybody got any other questions? I've got a couple, if you've got a couple of minutes, Gail.
Yeah, I am not in a hurry. There's no
good.
At the moment.
Good. We usually try and keep our guests for the whole Zoom.
Okay. I didn't know whether you wanted to chat. You know, there may be other things on your agenda.
No, you're our agenda.
Oh, okay. Ask me anything then.
Yes. So I wanted to know whether you use different instruments for different parts of the body or for different conditions. You know, would you use a different instrument, say, for cancer, or does it relate to the part of the body, or is it both?
That's a good question. Well, it often depends on the person and when I'm with that person, because it may be that one day I'll be with a person and I'll be sitting listening to them, and something will come to me that I need to be with the drum for some reason, the drum and the rattle, and not the crystal bowls, or so it's a feeling. But sometimes I have someone who is psychotic. I won't use the big deep creation gong that I've got, because I don't want to take them into that place. So I'll keep it higher and lighter. People with cancer, all of the instruments are amazing because they're all healing. The gong is very cleansing. The crystal bowls, are also extremely healing. The singing bowls I can put on the body. The rattles I can take across the body. The drum I can drum along the body. So yeah, there isn't a rule to it. It's more by intuition and experience and guesswork. Sometimes I'll place the crystal bowls because they're tuned with the chakras, but I never really go with that. But I do sometimes place that around the body, but not too close because they're very loud. But yeah. Does that answer your question?
Thanks, Gail. Yeah, I've got some background noise going on here. My son's having a conversation at the front door. So if somebody else wants to chip in now with a question, I'll just put my mic off for a minute and come back in a couple of minutes.
I have a question.
Yes.
Gail, do you ever record a sound bath and then play it back and lie in the middle of it?
Yes. I like to hear. It's very difficult to relax because I'm listening to how something didn't work. You know, it's different when you're online to the real thing because the sound, you're just hearing it and not feeling it. When you're with the gong, you're feeling the vibrations go into the body. You know, the crystal bowl will go, you can feel it going into you. So it's a body experience. So it's very easy to be critical when all you have are your ears and it goes through, you know, this machinery. And so if it's like I've played something too loud, it's like, I played that too loud instead of just going with it. So I try not to do it because I would never do that, you know, in a big room. And again, right now I'm in a small room. And so the sounds are very different from when I'm in a room with 30 people. And I feel the journey I want, and I try to connect with the instrument. And then the sound, you can't plan how the gong will sound. You have to have an intention, but you can't re-listen to that. Sometimes you may strike it and it's like, that is definitely not, that's out of where we should be. I can recognize that, where I've come out of the place of concentration that I was in. It's almost sometimes, and when I'm in a big room, I go into a trance-like state.
You're also feeling the benefits, aren't you, while you're there? You're also having the gong bath yourself while you're playing.
Yeah, that's exactly it. So yeah. I'm right in front of the gong, so I'm going with it. Yeah, you're absolutely right. The crystal bowls are right in my brain, and I'm on a high. I think, talking about high, I had an email from somebody. She used to go to someone for sound baths regularly, and she loved his sound baths. I call them sound journeys, and then she said that something changed with his playing and he was going off on a tangent, and that's because he was taking drugs. So he was taking drugs and playing. So he wasn't connecting with the people. He was going off on his own tangent, and that's dangerous. And I know I've been to different festivals and I know people take stuff, but it is a danger that you start to go off on your own thing. And that's a shame, because then you're not grounded and you're losing connection with the people in a healing sound bath. I think if you're playing an instrument or something in a concert, you know, a jam or something, but I think when you're doing a sacred sound healing sound bath, you'll get a high with your own instruments, that you need to remain grounded, and because you'll get very high with the bowls and gongs, as you were saying just now. Yeah. Sorry about that. It's my thing about people taking drugs and playing the gongs and stuff when they're doing it for other people. Yeah. I've probably opened up a can of worms here.
No, what you're saying is there's a responsibility in doing it. What you're saying, really, Gail, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So where do you see the future of sound, you don't call it therapy, sound journeying?
I think it is
for healing?
becoming a therapy. I mean, there is a lot of research going on now in hospitals, certain hospitals, and they will try and make it academic so that you have a paper and you can do it. But yeah, I think it will be used more and more. More and more people are playing instruments. You see them advertised everywhere. But you have to be careful who you go to. You want to be careful. A lot of people can easily pick up instruments, but they don't necessarily know how to play them. But I think all of this, I think the whole world's changing, that we're changing our vibration. I think this COVID pandemic, once it changes, I think people will really appreciate each other much more. And I hope that we come from our hearts more. And that maybe healing isn't all about prescriptive things, that there is more to it. But we must be thankful that there are doctors and hospitals and surgeons that can work with us as well. But I think there's so much more that we can give to each other, which you're doing on this platform. You know, there are so many ways to relate with love in, you know, with the healing things that you have on, you know, you have guests coming on that show this. It's waking ourselves up to this, it's to love, really, isn't it?
Totally. And you know, as you know, this hub here really is all about expanding our consciousness, exploring our consciousness, and we call it going to the edges of our unknowingness.
Yeah, I love that, going beyond the veil. Really nice.
Yeah, so yeah, I was interested from the point of view of the vibrational frequency. And I think I'd heard or read, I mean, this was a few years ago, that sound was becoming featured very much more in dealing with things like Alzheimer's and dementia, where the myelinated neurons, you know, the neural pathways, that it actually, I think, broke down some of the plaque that was on there. Is that?
I have read that, yes.
Yeah.
And so, yes, and they'll be wanting to prove that, which is good.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
they are, especially with the gong.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, what's special about the gong? Is that just has got more resonance?
It's just got so many more vibrations. So there are many sounds with the gong we won't even hear. You know, a crystal bowl has one note, but the gong has many, many vibrations. So, you know, if you're lying next to the gong, you are not always aware of what it's doing to you. It's an amazing instrument. It's one of the most powerful, and it's very ancient. I mean, well, 4,000 or 5,000 years old, I would say. Tibetan bowls, the same.
So were the bowls were originally made of crystal?
The Tibetan bowls were probably made of 7 to 9 different metals. In Tibet, Nepal, the monks, the Buddhist monks would use them, and they would chant with them and take themselves into ecstatic states. So they were used for that in ritual, and we use them for that as well, but not quite in the same way. But if you played a bowl and sat with it, you could probably, and sung with it, you could, and with the crystal bowl, you can take yourself into a state of bliss if you were prepared to do that.
I'm also interested in the alchemy side of it, because you say you put water inside the crystal bowls.
In the Tibetan bowl.
Tibetan bowls.
Yeah.
Would you use that water for anything else afterwards,
Yeah.
whether it's
Yeah.
drinking, watering your plants or something?
Usually the people come and put it over their face.
Okay.
After the sound journey, I'll play it for them, or I can go around each person and then it will splash up into their face and over their heart. So I take a big bowl, or they sit in front of it and I play it for them. And then the water comes up, which is lovely.
And presumably you could drink it, I suppose.
Yeah. But as long as it's not been in the bowl too long, because it is, you know, it's different ancient metals. One of my bowl is very old, so I wouldn't want to really drink too much of it.
Well, what
Might be copper.
ancient metals are you talking about? Let me put my mic
Well,
off.
brass, copper, nickel, tin, silver, I don't know what else. Those anyway, I can't think of. Tin, copper, brass, nickel. Anybody else?
Did you say gold?
Yeah, probably, but not much.
Lana's got a question for you. Sorry, Lana, just interrupt me if I'm going on.
Hi. No, that's fine. You're doing great. I have kind of a silly question for you. So you were playing the sounds just now, and they were changing from different frequency to a different one each time, and they were very quickly. Now, my question is, you're trying to heal the body and sort of kind of reprogramming the waters of your body, correct?
Well, I'm not trying to do anything. I'm just connecting with the instruments, and I know that vibrating sound will come into your ears, and that will make changes within your own body with the vibration that's going on with your own cells. It will make changes, definitely.
Yes. So what I really am trying to understand is when you're changing the tones so quickly from one tone to the next, the next to the next, isn't that kind of screwing up the frequency your body's changes because it's so quick? No,
it won't make any difference. Well, if you were in a concert, concert with an orchestra, there are notes all over the place changing.
Yes, I thought about that before I asked the question.
Yeah, so it won't make any difference. And the body, I mean, it's all different vibrations and frequencies, and that's absolutely fine. I think if I was playing the gong, there are so many different sounds in that all at the same time, but it doesn't screw up your body.
Okay.
All right.
I was just really curious about that. The changing of the tones is so quickly because you're trying to integrate one tone into your body, and then as quickly as you've done that, you're moving to the next one, to the next.
Your body's really good, and your brain cells are really good
at adjusting.
Because if you're outside in your daily living, there are so many different sounds and noises that sometimes your brain's actually switched off to some of them. You don't hear everything. And if we were affected by sounds in that way, we won't be able to be outside with all the different natural sounds that are in our day-to-day living. And I must say that, you know, we are sometimes affected if we've got a builder outside who's drilling and, you know, making noises. It can really upset, and you know when something irritates you. The brain lets you know, and the body lets you know. So, you know, if I was doing a sound journey and something irritated you, then it would be maybe a certain, you know, something, your body's letting you know that whatever I did wasn't right. But you would certainly get that if a builder was outside drilling and knocking and nailing in a roof or something, you know.
Yes, correct. I agree with you.
Yeah.
Thank you for answering that.
Okay.
It was really great. My other question was in the beginning of your session there, the probably the first third part of the session, it was very low. I couldn't hear it very well, even though I had my volume up to the max. But the second part of it, I could hear all the sounds a lot better. Was that by design?
Probably not.
Okay.
It was probably just you know, technology, you know,
Yes.
which
But it was
I'm really sorry about. The beginning of it was with some low sounds. It was with some background sounds that I'd made, and with a very soft homemade rainmaker, which is very soothing, and that's very soft. But it may be that it was too low, and then I used the gongs then I used the thunder. I have a thunder machine, and I was playing that. I don't know whether you heard that, and that came before the gongs.
I have to listen to it when I'm ready to go to bed.
Yeah, that was quite
I think I
loud.
would agree. Yes.
But the
But
first 5 minutes was quiet. It was just to bring you in gently, but it may well have been too low. It's hard with a machine to know what's working. For some, it may be perfect, and for others, it may not.
Yes, yes, I understand. Thank you. Zoom did a great job for us. Thanks again.
Thank you. I just see, yeah, the bowls, that's right. Lead, tin, iron, copper, silver, gold. There is brass, and yeah. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Gail. I'll mute myself now. That was the
Thank you,
question.
Lana.
Thanks.
I have a thought, which may be anywhere from tangential to right on the money for different people. And like I imagine a lot of people, I've been like completely immersed. Every time I ended up at a fancy function somewhere where they had like crystal goblets, and you wet the tip of your finger and you just go around in circles, I was always the one that kept it going longer than anybody else wanted to. And it was like, please stop. Or I'd find a friend and we'd both be like, go. And I always was like, oh, I wish there was an instrument like this, so you didn't have to like wait for special like occasions. And they did. Like Ben Franklin and other people had something that was like spinning glass discs, which was the same material as what we call crystal goblets, but which is actually leaded glass. So glass that's been blown with fine particulate of lead in it. And anybody who played the beautiful sounding, like angelic sounding, I think it was called a Celestine, would go crazy. And I think it was because of the vibration of the lead, which like took their consciousness over time, like off balance. And I've been like thinking how wonderful it would be to have like a Celestine created with not leaded glass, but silvered glass, because I bet the vibration of silver would be more healthy to the human energetic signature than lead.
Interesting.
Just a thought.
Yeah, the bowls I use today are very powerful, but they are better when you're with them, which are the crystal bowls, which are 99.8% crystal, quartz crystal. Yeah. So they can take you.
I think what I particularly like, Gail, is the your use of the natural sounds like the leaves and so on. Because first of all, I thought you hadn't started and you were walking to a studio. Then I realized, oh, of course, it's part of, you know, natural sounds are the most beneficial and the most healing, aren't they? And as you say, we have an absolute onslaught of unnatural sounds that we just think it's just part of life, isn't it? And we don't realize what a disresonance they get us into unless, as you say, they become particularly irritating, like a drill and so on. And how I remember when I first went camping when I was younger, how quiet it was, and then how the natural sounds made me feel. And even last year when I camped, the owls and the foxes at night and so on, I found particularly healing. Yeah. So I guess any of the natural sounds we can incorporate into a sound journey, sound therapy, are going to be beneficial.
Yeah, that's right. I think going out walking, quite often we're maybe listening to our phone or talking, and we're not hearing the trees and the streams and the leaves. You know, if we go out with that intention to hear what's out there, that can be very healing. You know, if we can be present.
But isn't it tongues in trees, babbling in brooks?
Yeah.
Babbling brooks in books, is it? And sermons in stones. Everything is beautiful. I think that's a Shakespeare quote, isn't it? And it is the sound of the wind in the trees. So yeah, just saying that I really like the way you incorporated that. And I'm sure you'll come up with some more ideas.
Oh, I'm always looking. So if anybody has any ideas, or if they're out and they see something, let me know. I love making or doing something with stuff out in nature. So
yeah,
don't catch a frog. I don't mean that sort of thing.
No, but you've got like a complete natural sort of orchestra.
Yeah.
And then you layer your voice on it. That's beautiful.
Yeah, I do sing a lot more normally. But,
sorry, I need to do my mic again because of my grandson.
Use the frog sounds. I love the frog. I have the frog. The frog's wonderful. I have a wooden frog, and I did play the frog today very gently. I've got some birds as well that I play, different bird sounds. So anyway, I'm going to go now. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for listening. Does anybody else want to say anything?
I had a thought, and it was somebody talked about how natural sounds are better than like certain like other sounds. And I definitely, I can identify with the statement at face value. Like, I know I have visceral reactions to certain like industrial sounds and more relaxed by so-called natural sounds. But then one day about 15 years ago, I was in a bird shop because a friend wanted to buy a parrot or a cockatiel, or maybe she was just browsing, and we came across a parrot, or it could have been a parrot, whatever it was unadoptable because it had previously been owned by somebody who worked in a store with like intense, harsh video game sounds, and it was continuously making the sounds of like a loud metallic cash register, like ding, and it sounded exactly like the cash register and the video game, and but it was in fact coming out of an organic creature. So that got me going like, well, it's natural now. However it started out.
Yeah, well, it may be, and the natural sound of when you've got a baby, it's always wonderful to hear either when they're screaming.
Would you like to hear some? We can do some on cue here.
So I guess it's our journey as like sort of master sound healers, all of us on the planet, to then notice that and then weave it into our compositions,
or block it out in a which we're always doing, blocking out different sounds, you know. I don't know whether I would want to weave in that parrot screeching, but I know what you're saying. Yeah. Oh,
have you done any, and somebody else done some at the same time, like an overlaying? Wow, that must be powerful.
Yeah, sometimes I work with somebody, a friend. I have 2 or 3 different gong masters I work with, and we might have 7 gongs then, or 8 gongs, and we fill the whole side, or we may put instruments in different corners, so when they're lying down they may get something over here and then there'll be something over there. Yeah, I do.
So imagine that in somewhere like the Albert Hall, and then getting in people in for healing. Wouldn't that be just, but couldn't that be the future of sound healing? Do you think they just expand it?
I think if you go to a concert at the Albert Hall with an orchestra, you will get a wonderful healing. I think it's already with us. If you, with all kinds of wonderful music, especially classical music, that's there. I think if you're taking gongs and crystal balls to the Albert Hall, it wouldn't reach the people. It's too big. The space is too big. But I think,
well, even though it was built for sound,
it might be hard, but I don't know how the gong would sound up there. I'd have to listen. You'd have to go to all the places that people are sitting to see how, because it may be the crystal ball will go up there and then bounce off the walls, and then it could be not good for people wearing hearing aids. I think it's an interesting concept what you say, and I think there's no reason why it couldn't happen with a large number. I don't know about that large a number. I don't think that will be me.
No. Well, sometimes we like to ask the questions that haven't been asked, or things that haven't been thought
That's a
of.
very good point. I mean, I was just thinking of St David's Hall, you know, the opera place in Cardiff, and the walls are built so the sound does bounce off, and I don't know how that would sound. And of course they have live instruments there for many concerts, so it may well be amazing. I'll let you know when I book myself in. I'm raising money on having a high profile then.
Well, I mean, singing itself is healing, isn't it? Singing is healing. I mean, and Wales is the land of singers.
I think everybody can, you don't need to have a singing voice to heal yourself with your voice. In fact, it's the finest thing for your healing is to use your voice, sound. And there are many things you can look up on the internet about that, you know, and it is intention. And, you know, I mean, you start me off, there'll be another hour, but you can all start to heal yourselves with your own voice. And that's very powerful and very easy to do.
Well, we've learned through revocations that it's very powerful to hear your own voice, your own sovereignty, your I am.
That's true.
In your body. And we learned that initially because most people here have done some sort of not training with Andrew Bartzitz, but listened to his show and so listen and have taken on board some of the things that he suggested. And revocations is certainly one that we would use to sort of claim our sovereignty. So I'm thinking maybe singing the revocations now, Martina. Would be a good one.
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, I'm just doing a 6 Fridays with James D'Angelo or D'Angelo, I'm not sure how you pronounce his name, with voice at the moment, working through the body and sound, and that's on every Friday.
Oh, what, you're learning that, or you're presenting that?
I'm learning that.
Oh, you're learning that. Oh,
yeah.
Good. So when you've done that, we can have you on to sing.
Well, yeah, you'll all be doing it then, which is great.
Oh, that's all right. We know we've got some very good singers in the group. Matty, who's not on, and Caroline, who you spoke to earlier. So, and the others haven't voiced theirs yet, and I'm certainly not doing mine. Who's got other questions so I can switch off my mic, or have we come to the end? Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Well, it just remains for me to say on behalf of Earth Nouveau and everyone gathered here, that was a delight. Despite the challenges with the Zoom, I really enjoyed it, and I shall look up your YouTube. But we'll put it when we'll put the video out on Facebook, Gail, and we'll put your details there. And that's, I think we better add Sean's.
Yeah, and Sean Hessman.
Well, as of today, I've got a playlist of 1, but it'll be growing.
So you can only improve then, Sean.
Well, it's
Thank
from
you,
20
Gail. That was lovely.
Thank you, Martina, and I look forward to joining you on with some of your guests that are coming on.
I've sent you an invite for the Earth Nouveau Hub. We put it on there. It will be on my Facebook page, and I can send it to you in Messenger too.
That's great.
And I mean, just come on as and when you fancy it. We do some very varied stuff. I don't know what we've got next week, Martina. Do you? Is it Mary? You?
Yeah, we're going to do Galactic History transcript number 2 next week.
Okay. Yeah, so totally different again. So Gail, that is Andrew did some shows with Lance White that are on YouTube talking about our real galactic history. So we've got transcriptions of it that we go through and talk about, and then the week after that I think will be Mary, who wasn't on tonight, with something totally different again. So we look forward to welcoming you back if you want to come back. Meanwhile, it just remains for me to say thank you everybody once again for your love, your support, for coming here every week, and have a wonderful week, and we'll see you in a week's time. And thank you, Gail. Absolutely
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.